Hi and welcome back to my channel. It's 2024 and I'm still talking about startups, of course, and startup sales strategies. And the most important thing we're talking today is the USP. A lot of startups come to me and say, well, we got a USP, we discussed it in the office, and then we established a product and that failed. And that's the point. Most of the startups fail because there's no need from the market for their product. So you have to talk your consumers and your customers even more in 2024 to differentiate yourself. It has to be very sharpened. It has to be very clear and very focused what you're doing. And it has to attract your consumers and your customers. So do this in doing interviews and talking to your consumers and your customers. Don't do this at your desk or in a brainstorming sessions or with the discussion with an investor or with your parents or somebody else, because there's a lot of competition out there. You have to establish this USP from interviews with your consumers and your customers. You have to talk in their language. The USP is established in their brains. So that's the pain point. That is the niche where you have to build up products for. So do this and then you can build up your brand identity, but do interviews, travel a lot, be brave, go for it. It takes a lot of time, I know. It's a lot of work, but you have to do a lot of interviews with a lot of potential customers in your target group, and then they will give you the knowledge, they will give you the information for your product. You build up your product, you get a focused messaging with this USP, and you go again to your consumers and your customers, and you present your product, and you test it with your consumers, and you test the product. And then with the feedback from your consumers, you come back and you try to establish this strategic positioning with a good USP, and everything comes from the market. The market is always right. The customer is always right. And that's with this knowledge and the feedback, you just integrate what they said, and then you build up your product again and again and go again to the market and test it until they are satisfied, and then you can launch it into the market. That's why a good USP is so important as well for your communication. You use the words the consumers and customers gave you, the keywords for your website, for all your investor pitches, for everywhere you go. So inside your communication strategy, that's the language from your consumers, and that's so important. And in 2024, another thing, consistency is the most important thing. So be consistent in everything what you do on your website, in your communication material, while you're traveling, while you're talking to people, while you're selling this. For your sales strategy, be consistent. Make a good sales plan, a good marketing plan, a good social media plan, and then establish a product, establish a brand by being consistent. And at the end of the day, the target group will be your loyal customers. That's the most important thing, talking about your customers and your consumers. You build up loyal customers. That's the aim. That is your life as a startup. Coming from out of nothing, building up a target group, building up a brand, building up a product, and having customer loyalty at the end. A good USP, which you have to discuss in your team, has a huge sales impact, of course, with a good USP. And that's why I give you a little task here at the end of the day today. Try to sharpen that USP in one sentence. Discuss it in your team, discuss it with your partners, and formulate that, what you got out of that interviews, in one sentence. Of course, you can turn the words around and use different words and do it, but don't do brainstorming again. Use the knowledge from the interviews, talking to your consumers, and if you get any questions for that, just book a workshop, book something like a sales training for you, go to my website, and I'm happy to help you.